All right, welcome. So today we're going to be talking about how to properly install your new gymnastic rings. If you've been watching my channel, you know that I put gymnastic rings way up there on the top of the list of that essential home gym equipment. If you're going to be starting up a home gym, I'd say your gymnastic rings would be right up there in that top 3 purchases, if not number 1. You can do so much with them. I've got another video that you can look over how to really conduct your exercises with the gymnastic rings and everything you can do with them. But today is all about how to properly install them into your ceiling. You might not want to put them on your power rack. You can. There's just a little bit of an inconvenience factor sometimes when you have to move them to the side if you want to do your squats or your bench or anything else like that. So putting them into your garage gym ceiling is an excellent option. So today we're going to get into how to do that. We're going to do it extremely effectively in a very simple fashion. And to be honest, we're going to over-engineer it a little bit because, as you can imagine, having your gymnastic rings and using them, doing pull-ups or doing anything inverted can be a major safety hazard if they are not properly installed. All right, so we are going to over-engineer it for safety. It's going to be a little bit more robust than it technically needs to be, but we can't go wrong having it more engineered than not. So let's get into it. All right, so taking a look here, this is my setup. These are my gymnastic rings. You can get these in a lot of different places. And if you take a look right above top, those are the actual proper holders for them. We'll talk more about those a little bit later. And conveniently, there is the attic. If you have the opportunity to set up your rings somewhat close to your attic entrance, that would be ideal. But honestly speaking, regardless of where you put them, it's really not a problem. This is just a little bit of an easier workspace. All right, so featured here is everything that you're going to need for the job. We'll kind of just go through, try to keep it as organized as I can. So starting off in no particular order, got to have our safety glasses of some sort. These are just sunglasses. You can have clear ones, doesn't matter. Have a pen. These are screws, specific pocket hole screws made by Kreg, K-R-E-G. These are 2.5 inches. This is going to be a input for our actual pocket holes. All right, this is the actual drill bit specifically, again, made by Kreg. This comes with the actual pocket hole jig. This is your pocket hole jig specifically. This is the Kreg pocket hole mini jig. I put another full-size jig over here. This is optional. You don't need this one. This is the Kreg pocket hole jig, not the mini version. This one's $100. Again, you don't have to get this one. Any type of drill, but more of a standard drill. You do not need an impact driver for this one. So this is your Kreg clamp. You don't need the Kreg version. You can have any clamp. This one is just specifically designed for what we're working with today. Like a construction ruler, which is made of steel, a tape measurer, fabric tape, it's all good. Anything you can use to measure. We're gonna need a 2x10. A 2x10. All right, now another piece of optional equipment is the miter saw. Most households are gonna have one of these if you have any type of basic tool setup. Again, if you don't have any type of tools, this is not absolutely necessary. Reason being is because when you go to purchase your 2x10 slab of wood, you will have the ability at any type of Home Depot or Lowe's to go ahead and have them cut it for you there. The reason why I'm including this as preferred equipment is because you'll have to do things a little bit out of order. You'll have to go up into your attic. We're gonna measure the wood. I'll show you guys how to properly do that, and then you'll have to go back to Home Depot or Lowe's and give them that measurement to do your cuts there. So it just makes it a little bit inconvenient, but you can still get the job done without this at home. Alright, so what we're looking at here is this is a look into my attic. This is right above the garage. This is how any standard attic in such a location is going to look. You see some of those joist supports, and you also see the two larger blocks of 2x10. Those are my supports specifically for the ring setup that I've already installed. What I have here is this is a replica of what exists up in the attic. So this is very, very similar to what you just saw up there in the actual attic. Right now, this is our joist supports that you saw, and this is the ceiling of the garage. So below here is the garage itself. Alright, so here's a quick still photo of what my attic and probably what your attic looks like also, except I have my supports already in there. And here's a nice easy diagram to take a look at. If you take a look at the joist supports that are running from left to right, those are what's already in your attic, and the lighter color wood that's labeled gymnastic ring studs, that's what we're going to be putting in between those two studs. So we are going to be screwing pocket holes from the gymnastic ring studs into the joist supports. You can kind of pause on this video if you need to get a good reference point. What we will be doing is we're going to be using our 2x10, and in short, we're going to cut our 2x10 to this exact distance. We're going to put one slab of it here, and then we're going to put another 2x10 slab here. From there, we're just going to be screwing into the joists here. And for the other one, the same thing. We're going to be screwing in to the joist here. All right, so we're here with our replica. This is us in the attic. We're looking down at our joists here. And the first thing is we need to get an exact measurement. This is probably the most important step of this entire project. We take our tape measure. We get a nice perfect measurement. Take your time, measure twice, 3 times, 4 times. Try to get it as perfect as possible. If you're a little bit unsure and you want to be really safe, go a little bit larger than needed. We can always chop down later. So for this first side, for this first support that I'm going to build, I get my measurement, whatever that is. I get the other one over on this side, and then I'm going to go ahead and mark that down and do my cuts. When it comes down to our actual locations here, again, keep in mind, we're going to be spacing our 2 boards as much as we want to space them as they'll be outside. So if I'm doing kind of a standard pull-up, that would kind of be the average type of distance that you would want to separate your 2 distances, right? So we might call that somewhere around 2 to 3 feet. All right, so I've got my 2x10 here, and I have my wood marked. It's marked at that exact measurement. I mark it on both sides because I'm probably with this width board, this 10-inch board, I'm gonna have to make 2 different cuts. So I need to have it marked on both sides. Okay, after we make our 2 cuts, we want to go back into our attic. This is my fake attic. This is what we're looking down at. We line them up with the 2 joists, and we make sure that they are as snug as possible. Okay, so now we're back downstairs in our workshop. We've got our boards ready. We know that the sizing is good. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start our pocket holes. They are holes, they are basically large pilot holes that we are gonna drill through our wood on both sides. And the reason that we're gonna do that is because we need a way to attach our board that we just cut. This is gonna be the support that is going to hold our rings in place. We need a way to attach it to the joist support. Now, there are some people out there that they just take a screw and they drill down into a diagonal just like that. I'd say that is not ideal at all. First of all, we're not getting a lot of bite on the wood, and also we're gonna end up cracking the wood, and this is gonna be a very unstable piece for something that is holding something like rings, that's holding our body weight. That's gonna be a safety hazard. It doesn't take that much more time and effort to do it right. So we are gonna drill pocket holes that are going to allow these screws to go through, get a good bite on the wood, and drive through and connect to the joist. So we're gonna do 3 of these. Pocket hole, pocket hole, pocket hole. Same thing here, pocket hole, pocket hole, pocket hole. All right, so the first way that I'm gonna do this is I'm gonna be using the mini jig, because this is what I believe most of you are gonna be starting off with, because it's a very small piece. It's only $18. It comes with everything you need. I think this is what most people are gonna end up using. So I'm going to, first, I need to take some sort of ruler. I would recommend a nice solid ruler such as this. I need to measure out 1.25 inches. So on this one, it actually doesn't start at the very end, so that's why I've used tape to mark the 0 line. So I line it up with the 0 line, and then I've already marked on my ruler with those dots right there 1.25 inches from A to B. So I already have that marked, so I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna put some sort of mark. I'll use an X, and I'm gonna do 3 of these. 1.25 inches, 1.25 inches, 1.25 inches. So I've got my 3 marks. Notice I've also marked the ends of the board that I'm gonna be working with. I've just put some arrows. I wanna make sure that I'm putting my pocket holes on the proper end, and that is the end that I just actually cut here. It's not the smooth side. I'm working on the cut ends. So once I have my 1.25 inch marks, I'm going to line up my mini jig. At that 1.25 inches. So the end of it is at the 1.25 inches. As you can see here, the actual hole that the drill bit is going to go into is facing outboard. So I'm going to end up drilling this way. Okay, so I've used my clamp here to go ahead and secure the mini jig right there on line at that 1.25 inches. I'm gonna take my drill, I'm gonna put in my Craig bit, and I'm just gonna drill through the hole. And that's it, the pocket hole's done. I'm gonna repeat this process for the other 2 on this side and the 3 on this side, repeating the same process. All right, and for those of you that went out and got the full-size Craig pocket hole jig, this is significantly easier because everything is already marked. So I just line this up. It immediately adjusts this. I screw it in here. It's pre-adjusted. Now all I have to do is clamp the wood in, and it's set. Now I can drill through my holes that are already in place. So I've already done one of them with the mini jig, and I'll show you how fast doing the other 2 is. unclamp, slide it over, reclamp, put your last hole in. Flip it over, do the same thing. As you see here, we have our 3 pocket holes. So again, for both pieces of wood, 3 on this side, 3 on this side. All right, so we're pretty much at the end of this project now. So we take our 2 boards that we have our 6 pocket holes in each. We line this up with our joist. Again, we're in our imaginary attic here. We line it up. Again, if we need to take a small rubber mallet or a large rubber mallet and hammer this down, we absolutely can. We want this nice and tight. We're gonna take our Craig bit here. So this is a specific bit, specifically for the Craig screws. You will notice here that this is not like other bits. This has a square end. So it is specific for driving these. That's why we don't use regular screws. Okay, now we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna drive these through into our pocket holes. Line it up. And you're just gonna drive them in. Okay, and now we're at the very end. We have our supports on the joist up there, everything's set. We're gonna use the original marks that we made. And I'm gonna be including a link, or at least a picture, I should say, for these. A lot of companies make these, right? But these are specific for any type of nylon material here, right? Especially rings. We don't wanna put these on anything rough or anything like that. We're just gonna go ahead and line these up. We're gonna screw those in. That's easy, very self-explanatory. And then just hang our rings. And then we are all set. We know that we have the maximum support up there. It's supported by the joists on both sides. And we can go ahead and do our ring exercises safely. So probably one of the most common questions that's gonna pop up on this project is, how come I just don't take a stud finder, put it up to my ceiling, go across, mark the studs, and then screw in the supports from there? The answer is, if I'm pretending that this is my ceiling and this is the stud behind the actual drywall, and I find it, the issue is gonna be, this is such a thin amount of material. This is only 1.5 inches, remember. So to be able to find an exact point in the middle, the stud finder is not a precision tool. So sometimes you're gonna get a beep and a center line maybe right there, because it is picking up that there's a wood stud behind there. And if I go ahead and I insert a screw right there, I might get some of it to bite, but some of it might be on the edge. I might barely get it, and that is not gonna be a very secure connection. So that's why we are over-engineering with those big 10-inch boards that's covering a large amount. So when this stud finder goes across and it finds a middle, I have plenty of room of safety on both sides. So if you want to roll the dice and do this method and catch an edge when you're hanging on rings, go ahead, but it's not going to be the best option. All right, and that is how to set up your new gymnastic rings. Again, I can't emphasize enough, make sure you are going through the effort. I'm not saying this is the only way to do it. This is the more robust, this is the over-engineered way of doing it. However, there is an extreme peace of mind that comes to knowing that you really over-engineered your support when it comes to rings hanging upside down and all that stuff. You've got the names of the gear and everything like that. You know, you can go out and get that. If you don't feel comfortable doing this project, you can always hire a handyman. However, I would again recommend that just like any other service, they know what they're doing, and hopefully they're gonna do it the over-engineered way and do it properly and not take the shortcuts for a project like this where you're hanging your body weight off of the ceiling, okay? So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next.